Ansys STK Shield Plus is a new product in the Ansys portfolio for 25R2. It is an add-on to Ansys STK to ensure mission success and survivability. We're able to model radiation effects, both from electromagnetics and space radiation, such as high-energy particles, on various components at the electronics level, or all the way on the scale of the spacecraft. Ansys STK Shield Plus is a product built upon the capabilities of Ansys EMC Plus and Ansys Discharge Plus, with the idea in mind to have access to the complex physics and numerical solutions within those products in a more streamlined way. The idea is to provide Ansys STK users with the ability to assess shielding effectiveness from electromagnetic radiation, radiation hardening, surface charging effects, the risk of electrostatic discharges, and any electromagnetic coupling to cable harnesses on any types of missions. The first workflow in Ansys STK Shield Plus, the shielding effectiveness workflow for electromagnetics. We have introduced the ability to model in Ansys Discovery the effect of electromagnetic coupling to an enclosure that could encapsulate, for example, an electronics device that is susceptible to electromagnetic radiation. In Ansys STK Shield Plus, you can model and import that geometry efficiently and monitor the amount of electromagnetic fields that penetrates inside that enclosure. For our second workflow in Ansys STK Shield Plus, we have the ability to monitor the effect of electromagnetics onto cable harnesses and the coupling to a susceptible conductor inside that harness. With the workflow, you are able to set up the type of shield that you want to look at for the harness, the amplitude of the electromagnetic pulse, and monitor the coupling at the level of currents and voltages that are induced to that harness. For our third workflow in Ansys STK Shield Plus, we have the ability to assess the probability and consequences of lightning strikes on an aircraft path that you would have modeled in Ansys STK. The results provide a probability distribution as well as a typical waveform for the lightning strike current that is associated to the exposure that the mission would have. The fourth workflow in Ansys STK Shield Plus is a radiation hardening workflow that allows us to model dose depth curves for any types of particles that we can model in Ansys Discharge Plus. We automatically create the thin layers and provide the associated dose depth curve through aluminum based on the energy spectrum that was obtained from Ansys STK seat. Our fifth workflow in Ansys STK Shield Plus is the ability to model ionizing dose and non-ionizing dose on electronic components. The workflow allows you to set up a certain geometry and import a geometry in Ansys Discovery and leverage the ray tracing solver that we have, as well as the dose depth curve that you may have modeled in the fourth workflow, to be able to extract the shielding effectiveness of an enclosure on a PCB and assess the ionizing dose on each of the individual components. The sixth workflow in Ansys STK Shield Plus is the ability to model the risk of ESD at the surface of a spacecraft using the surface charging module that is available in Ansys Discharge Plus. Effectively, you can provide a geometry, some surface material properties, and the space environment that you will be exposed to in your mission, maybe a lunar environment, LEO, GEO, or auroral environment, and assess the charging of the surface materials on that spacecraft to understand if you're at risk of ESD and assess the mission susceptibility to the space environment based on the material properties and the geometry that is chosen. Ansys STK Shield Plus is designed for STK users that are worried about the mission success, but it is meant to work in collaboration with engineers from specific fields, such as EMC engineers or radiation hardening engineers, to be able to define a threshold of success for each of the physics and the workflows that are tackled in Ansys STK Shield Plus. Ideally, the integrator for the mission that is using Ansys STK Shield Plus is able to make quick assessments on the success of the mission for each of these susceptible environments that the mission may be exposed to by leveraging the knowledge of their engineers and some pre-designed thresholds that would be established during these workflows.